Leyline Phantom was in, and even something like that can blank a 4/4 for 4.
So, we have another match.
Yeah, so we're gonna move over. This is Adam Westnedge versus Maria Wise. Adam is up a game right now. You see a Dimir mirror.
So, how do you feel about this fairy?
So Metropolis Sprite is an interesting card. It's probably one of Blue's best 2-drops. That said, Blue's really buying 3 is really the money slot for Dimir decks. So it sees a lot of play because it really is the best 2-drop in Blue probably at common.
I've seen it gone relatively late in drafts, but it actually, I think it does a lot of work.
Yeah.
Especially if you can get an aura on it or something, it really does a.
If you can put a counter on it, it starts. If you can somehow make it bigger, it can swing for a lot of damage. And it's a good target for Cypher. I suppose it's not. When I said the best Blue 2-drop, Frilled Oculus is good, but it's also Simic dependent.
Sure.
And then we see a card I really like, Krakenura, coming up from Adam Westnedge. I think that's one of Simic's best commons. As we see, it's really going to shut down Maria's
Stop
board.
sign here.
Yeah. It's a stop sign that eventually turns into a threat, which is kind of, it's like everything you want in a giant spider.
So what do we got? We got a removal.
We have a Dimir Charm for it, as it's still small enough that'll work. Maria's board is Spellstutter, Sprite, and Duskmantle Guildmage. She's going to offer 3rd land, pump. Metropolis Sprite, and then pump in and swing for 4.
So it's a good turn for her.
Yeah.
She seems to have a good tempo this game. Did she miss her land drop?
She did miss her land drop, but look, her hand has some game in it. She has a Dimir Charm and a Way of the Thief also in it. Way of the Thief is your call. Right now, it does not appear she doesn't appear to have a gate, so it's actually just a Volcanic Strength. Or a Giant Strength. So Westnedge makes his 4th land. He just needs to stay alive, as right now he's the only person with lands. It looks like he has a Horror of the Dim and Agoraphobia, which is going to go on Metropolis Sprite. That's a -5/-6. Pretty much take care of the card.
So, we don't have their deck lists, but do you think that this game could degenerate into like the Dimir Guildmage sort of mattering?
I've never seen the mill 2 off Dimir Guildmage really matter, especially, that's probably reserved, like the mill 2 ability only matters when you're in those late turns where there's 7 or 8 lands. Maybe his first ability just to push some extra damage, I could see that one happening.
I'm just thinking because there's no guys on the other side, so like it could be some time for some advancement of position. Although it looks like she's missed her land drop again.
I think she drew a Sapphire Drake for the turn, so that's pretty much a blank right here. She's gonna swing. Adam's down to 12. She still has a long way to go.
And she's probably just like thinking about which card she can cast.
She does have the option with her 3 mana on end step to kill her own Metropolis Sprite to get rid of the Agoraphobia, which actually may not be the worst play. If Adam doesn't play something that she can kill, it's probably if he takes down the return mana. So yeah, you're gonna go with Horror of the Dim, which is the 3/4 for a blue at gains hexproof.
Also a stop sign.
There we go. Thespian Stage is drawn by Maria Wise. It is a land. Right now, Thespian Stage, remember, taps for colorless, and for 2 mana becomes a copy of any other land on the battlefield.
So this card has been a more exciting constructed card than I think a lot of people anticipated originally.
Yeah.
It's contributed to the Legacy 12-post deck is now
even more posts.
It's like 16 posts now.
Remember, she has, if you can't see the stacked lands, because she's stacking her lands, she has double island swamp Thespian Stage.
What is she applied to the Guildmage?
Yeah, that's a Way of the Thief, so it's +2/+2. It makes it unblockable if she controls a gate. She's reading that, it's hexproof, so that should put Adam down to 8. That'll actually make, if she can draw a gate, remember, Adam has to be careful now not to play a gate, because she could Thespian Stage the gate.
Advanced plays.
Yeah, so, yes. No, but she actually opted not to. She did not attack. I'm not sure why. That seems strange to me.
He was tapped out. So, were there any plays that he could make?
There aren't any tapped out plays in the format. No.
So, interesting.
Adam now with 2 of every color.
2-turn clock at that point.
Yes. I think she's probably waiting to get a gate in play. Is what it looks like to me.
Maybe. I think she maybe just substantially underrated the fact that she was either very sure to get 4 damage in, or just abyss a creature, which is not the worst thing. But I doubt that he would block it.
If she's worried about, yeah, I mean, I was gonna say if she's worried about a Cypher onto it, she does have a Metropolis sprite, so yeah, that seems like it probably should have been an attack.
I mean, what's Cypher?
Call the Nightwing's probably the worst one to have happen. But Adam's going to return the Agoraphobia, and Agoraphobia the Duskmantle Guildmage now.
Oh. Well, at least it's got a lot of auras on it.
Yeah, it does have a lot of...
It's like a highly decorated Guildmage.
Right.
But now the Metropolis sprite's back live, right?
Right, so she's going to start pushing for 2.
Maybe that was her plan? I mean, if that was her plan, I think she still should have pushed for 4.
Yeah, I think so as well.
So,
she's drawn Dinrovahor. So she has Dimir Charm, Dinrovahor, Sapphire Drake, and then one unknown, it looks. A Last Thoughts. So Last Thoughts actually here is pretty good. She can use it to Divination with her Metropolis sprite, which I think we'll see happen.
Let's see, he's got G up, so...
Burst of Strength is the only thing at that.
It doesn't matter though, because
it's
non-flying creature.
Right. I was trying to think, what cards cost single green. I think that's the only one, only instant that's single green.
It's a pretty good card.
Yeah. And she's gonna swing, and she drew Island for turn. She's not going to pump off the island, so she's actually only gonna hit Adam for 1 to put him to 11.
Let's see. I don't know, what do you think she wants to draw? I mean, we don't have her deck list.
My guess is she just missed it because she drew the island that turn. She kind of like sometimes you're in this mindset, oh, I tapped out for Last Thoughts. Okay, I drew an island, but I'm still tapped out.
Oh, I see. So like, Adam's at virtual 6, right? By my count.
Yes, by my count, he should be at 6.
Not at 11.
Yes.
Something good. The problem is he's drawing the lands and she's giving him time to develop his game.
It looks like Adam's flooding, but he has a Dimir Charm left in his deck, and so yeah, Horror of the Dim, Adaptive Snapjaw, and Dimir Charm. And his hand is just Dimir Charm land. Maria now with her 6th land, I think is gonna get this game. She has a Sapphire Drake and a Dinrovahor here, both of which are really good. Because of the presence of Horror, you can kind of slow roll this. Adam has to be careful not to play out his entire hand. That's the whole, when playing against Recoil, don't play that last land.
How long have you been playing?
Casually for a while.
But Recoil is...
Yeah, I know.
That's going deep.
I described that to Dinrovahor. I'm like, it's the 4/4 for 6 with Recoil. It never just gives me this blank stare. It's like, what?
I mean, I know a Recoil.
Right. Yeah. It's a blue-black card.
It's a 2001 card.
Yeah. It's sweet. I played it in cubes sometimes. It's a good card. She's gonna play Sapphire Drake. So, and that's gonna be a pretty fast clock.
Let's see.
Adam has, if you recall, has no answer to a 4/4 flyer. He has the Dimir Charm for the Metropolis sprite, which I think has to happen here.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Otherwise, she draws far too many cards.
And this has been a lesson in card advantage.
Right.
Like all of her auras have soaked up a removal spell more or less.
She just has to be careful not to die to this Adaptive Snapjaw. And it looks like a Sapphire Drake of his own for Adam Westnedge.
That would be perfect.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a Mind Eye Drake. My apologies. So. He's gonna swing it here. It doesn't really matter whether he evolves it or not. He's thinking. I think he just realized he could evolve it first. Yeah. So backing up, first he's gonna play the Mind Eye Drake. So that's the 2/5 for 5. That when it dies, mills a player for 5.
Toughness.
Yeah.
And she's got to take this one, right?
Swinging for 7. It seemed. Yeah, I think she has 7 life to toss. I would say.
And
Chumping with the Guildmage is also fine here, I think. It gets rid of the Agoraphobia because now he can't bring the Agoraphobia back and put it on Sapphire Drake, which seems pretty relevant. He does have a blocker for the Drake at the moment,
Fair
but
enough.
She may have a kill spell of some sort.
Got a flyer? Another flyer?
It's a Balustrade Spy. So that's the 2/3 for 4 flyer that grinds. I think we're going to see Dinrovahor happen right now. I guess the short end, yeah. Grind is the, what is it? I think Mark Rosar talked about in one of his articles. It's the name for the mechanic of mill until they hit a land. He calls grind.
It's interesting how how R&D adopts words that Magic players have been using for many years, and then just gives their own definition.
Right. Like, you're just like grind. You're like, that's millstone.
Like grind is like bleeder, right? So bleeder is extort. Okay? Like the fundamental nature of Orzhov is bleeder. And then they've actually made a mechanic extort, which exemplifies bleeder.
Right.
Which they already had named bleeder, but everyone would have already called grinding. Like any small value, right? Like incremental value is grinding.
Yeah.
Right? Or then you have reach, which is like, to Magic players since at least 1999, 2000, reach is, the ability of a deck to win outside the red zone. But now it's blocking flyers.
Yeah.
So there's like, people like to use words like grind and reach. Let's use them.
So we did see the Denrobo Horror from Maria. She bounced the Mind Eye Drake. Really heads up play by Adam. He did hold on to that extra land there, which let him not discard the Drake. So he's going to recast it and actually get to evolve his Snapjaw again.
And bring in.
Yeah, it's at this point an 8-4. I think Maria needs to make this trade. 8's just way too much damage.
She's going to find herself in a spot where actually getting in for lethal damage can be a issue.
A little hard. She has a Keymaster rogue that she just drew, so she does have some. That's an unblockable attacker. So she should. I don't know how much she wants to bounce a creature right now, but with Adam at 7, that represents, I think, a pretty timely clock.
So how big is he? He's 2.
He's a 3/2.
A 3/2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, by our math, it would be a fine play here.
Now she also
Adam would be 5 less.
Yeah, she also has a Dimir charm in her hand, so she could charm the Mind Eye Drake. And then maybe the problem is she can't charm the Mind Eye Drake and play Balustrade Spy. But yeah, this is looking pretty good for her. She just has a lot more business going on. A Dimir charm that destroys, I believe, not exiles. So we're gonna see a mill for 5. Yeah, it destroys. And that looks like Consuming Aberration also in her deck. And that one, the Dimir pre-release card.
A powerful Magic the Gathering.
Definitely, I'd say one of the top rares in sealed. Excluding mythics, I made a short list for rares I think are really good for sealed right now. And I would say he's at the top of my Dimir list.
Both synergistic and then just purely powerful.
It's so powerful. It also gives you a way to win the game without ever attacking, which is pretty good. The only thing you have to watch out for him if you're going to go that route is Grisly Spectacle's a card, so make sure you don't make a 20/20 aberration and let them spectacle it, because then you'll mill yourself for 20. Just that's actually a real thing. What if you were to cast it right now, just mill their entire deck. So yeah.
And going to game 3.
Yep, no answer to Sapphire Drake from Adam Westnedge, so Maria gets game 2.
So did she play 2 Dimir charms that game?
He had one of them. Okay.
I think she had 2.
Yeah, she hit the Mind Eye Drake with it. And then early on, I believe she hit something else with it. Yeah, I think we saw 2 Dimir charms. So both players playing a bigger Dimir style, not the Dimir you'd see in draft normally.
So why don't you describe the Dimir we would see in draft?
So when I've been playing Dimir in draft, typically it tends to be more of a control shell style deck. So I guess there's some aspects it would look like Adam's deck, Mind Eye Drake, some Dimir charms, but usually you'd see some sort of probably more kill spells, and then some sort of card advantage or recursion engine. So maybe a Bane Alley Broker, a Mortu Strider, with a Sage's Row Denizen, or maybe a Basilica Screecher, some sort of just kind of inevitability. A lot of times I see them win with Mortu Strider, Undercity Informers, one of my preferred ways to win with a Dimir deck.
You have a notebook of, these are my preferred ways to win with Dimir.
It's
a very short list.
When I draft Dimir, yes, okay. That is way number 3 on my preferential order of how to win with Dimir. What I actually mean is, I don't value, how when you used to, some of the older school way of drafting is you don't really concern yourself with finding a win condition. It's if you have enough good cards, a win condition will just kind of happen.
Really? That has
you've
never
been that way?
No.
I've always been that way. Where it's just if I pick enough kill spells, as long as I have some creatures, I'll probably find a way to win.
The way I look at it, if I'm controlling how I make my deck versus my deck is handed to me, So, Adam chooses to be on the draw in this game. We know.
Yeah.
Sort of like I always the first thing I try to do, unless I'm playing some sort of weird format like M11 where you could play like the Jace's Erasure deck or something.
Sure.
Like unless I'm like in this weird archetype, like I just want to make sure I have enough dudes.
Yeah.
My curve's good. Like if there's appropriate removal, I'll take it if it's on curve. Stuff like that. Or like a weird format like you probably didn't play during Onslaught Sealed.
Not much.
So in Onslaught Sealed, I had a weird draft formula that I don't think very many other people did, but my results were very good. I would just take like the biggest card in the pack every time. Like most people were highly concerned with morph fights.
So you're taking like Hundroogs or just like
Gornas actually like 3/4
Yeah.
for 5. Like a lot of that stuff like would be like it seems like a weird card to take at high priority. What you do is maybe you take a few morph hits early, and then you have like 3 or 4 beasts, and nobody attacks or blocks. Like you don't attack, and they don't attack.
Yeah.
And then you just eventually cast your Falter and kill them with like one huge attack.
swing.
And then there's some stuff that could ruin people's fun, like somebody has a Sparksmith, it kills like
Right, I mean, that
every
guy's
dude on the board.
Yeah, that guy's
But,
really good.
Other than that, I really liked just taking like a lot of big monsters.
Sure.
And that was fun. I liked monsters. And then
Yeah.
you'd have a like Canopy Crawler, like he's a 4-caster beast that literally he's 4 to cast and you can reveal beasts, make them bigger.
So you see both players, Adam's on 6, he was on the draw. Both players leading off on islands. Maria has the turn 2 Metropolis sprite.
So it was a successful open for her last game.
Yeah, the early game probably not as important in this matchup as it will probably come down to the bigger things that they can cast.
So Maria's lands. She has an island, and what's the other?
Another island.
Another island.
Yeah, she has a Swamp now in play. Also an Orzhov Guildgate in her hand. She has Psychic Strike, Gateway Shade.
Just a small mechanical note. So Maria plucked that Swamp and then immediately played it, right? Is that?
Yeah.
So I noticed it. I think like if you're gonna draw a Swamp, which I presumably she didn't have a Swamp previously, and then your intention is to play it so that she can play it. She can play her
shuffle
black
your
card.
hand-
You should
shuffle it
shuffle
into
your
your
hand first. It actually gives your opponent a tremendous amount of information to know that you needed that land.
Or to know that you didn't draw, like,
Yeah.
if you didn't have a trick last turn, you don't have one this turn.
So just a small mechanical thing. I think that actually ends up mattering a lot more than people probably rate it right now.
So Adam with the Krakenura again, right, because she Dimir Charmed a Krakenura last game as well. We'll see Orzhov Guildgate for Maria. She has Metropolis Sprite and Gateway Shade now in play.
Dude isn't tapped.
Yeah, next turn Gateway Shade will be big enough to go through the Krakenura. But it looks like she also has the Dimir Charm, so I think we're probably going to see that happen.
And then she's got enough to do it and then pump the Sprite as well, yeah?
Yep. So she again has the Dimir Charm for the Krakenura.
And then thinking about it.
Pumps in the Metropolis Sprite and swings 3.
Not that it matters a whole lot. I don't think it's very common. You don't pump the Sprite and then attack, right? You attack and then pump the Sprite.
If he's tapped out, I do whatever, but normally I would wait until the attack to do it. There aren't many reasons for someone to kill the Sprite pre-combat, unless you're somehow playing some weird battalion deck with blue. But it's probably just good, I would give my opponent any option to choose it, to kill it pre-combat.
For me,
Why not?
It's just good practice.
Yeah, it's good practice.
Did she bring with both here?
Yeah, I mean, Drakewing, so Westnedge played Drakewing Crosses. If you swing both, and Maria with a really good threat, she's going to put Way of the Thief on Gateway Shade. She does
she's
have
got
a gate. So now it's a 3/3 unblockable. Yeah, if I'm her, I'm still swinging the whole team.
Yeah? You'd challenge to trade with the Sprite?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think that my initial thought is that I would not attack with the Metropolis Sprite, but I think you're probably right, because that's a fine trade.
And I'm so worried that the Sprite's going to get outclassed here.
Yeah.
We already saw a Mind Eye Drake out of Adam Westnedge last game. I'd try to get, if this trade happens, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, attacking with it's probably correct. So she's threatening how much damage is for 5?
This is for just 4, because she doesn't have any pumps this turn.
So that'll put him to 12, right? So
Right.
it'll take him 3 turns at least to catch up with the.
Well, because 12 is important because if she currently she has a 2-turn clock with the Gateway Shade. because it's a 3/3 and she can pump it to a 6/6 by tapping the gate in the
Oh,
swamp.
very good.
So now, yeah, Adam really will need to find an answer to that quickly.
So the extra point is very, very, very
And
important.
he misses his 5th land.
That's actually almost a signal like I will trade with the Metropolis right this
Yes,
turn.
yes. Well, it wouldn't last turn. Things have changed. I have decided this is okay. And she draws another gate for the Gateway Shade.
Semi-unnecessary gate.
Yeah, now, because she has Psychic Strike in her hand, I probably wouldn't.
You don't pump. Well, you
I
could
would
actually
pump with the gate.
Orzhov.
Yeah.
Yours
And then
are
I just
okay.
wait, and the next turn pump lethal with both gates. You know, no reason to take down the counterspell at this point.
So if this is your plan, do you still attack with Metropolis, right?
Sure, if he wants to trade it, I'm probably still okay with that.
Oh, she's tapping this for...
Okay, she's
Oh, no,
double
she's just
pumping
double
Gateway
pumping.
Shade. Yeah, the card you'd have to watch out for here is Etherize.
Wait, what happened there?
I think she's attacking with both. She kind of chain attacked.
Okay.
Yeah, but Adam's taking 6, and he clearly doesn't have the Etherize, so.
So
no.
that was actually a really good example of the mechanics we were
Mechanically, you
talking
should turn
about
when you
at the
turn your
beginning.
guys sideways. You should turn them all sideways in one motion.
No, not just that. Her pre-combat pumps actually restricted her quite a bit. She committed
Yeah.
mana to a sprite that
Was gonna
didn't need
trade.
to, needed that to happen, and then
Adam though doesn't draw the answer to the Gateway Shade, so Maria Wise wins 2 games to 1.